Fox 11 meteorologist Phil DeCastro here. Just want to give a quick update on the brutal, bitter cold that we're experiencing right now. And something that actually just came through in the last few minutes was a roundup of the lowest wind chills that we saw this morning. And thankfully, they did not get down to the territory that we saw yesterday morning. Yesterday, Friday morning, we were seeing wind chills in the 40s, even 50s below zero in some spots. This morning, that was not the case, but still some bitter cold stuff. 48 below is the lowest wind chill in Crandon. Anago bottomed out at 40 below for the wind chill. Appleton, Greenbay, Manitowoc, O'Connell, a bunch of places. Oshkosh at 34 below. Everyone was kind of around the mid 30s below zero as we worked through this morning. That was the vast majority of Northeast Wisconsin, but there were some pockets here and there, especially as you started to get up into Langlade and Forest counties, Florence County, where those wind chills, with even just a touch of a breeze, were dropping down into the 40s below zero. Now, as I mentioned, not as bad as yesterday morning. And I think moving forward, it's not quite going to be as bad the next few mornings, but I could still see some advisories or things like that getting issued right now. And that's about 9:40 in the morning. Those wind chills are still bottoming out at around 30 below zero in spots. Feels like 31 below in Appleton, feels like 36 below in Wausau, but most places kind of hovering in the teens and 20s below zero. And I think as we work through the afternoon, we're going to see those wind chills kind of settle into the teens below zero. At the moment, there are no more extreme cold warnings or cold weather advisories for most of the area. The Milwaukee National Weather Service does have some cold weather advisories in effect down through Green Lake, Fond du Lac, and Sheboygan counties. And there's still cold weather advisories up for off to our north over the UP. The Green Bay National Weather Service doesn't have anything in effect right now, but I would think, and I would not be surprised to see if they issued a cold weather advisory for late tonight and on into tomorrow morning. So no, nothing technically in effect for most of us at the moment, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be cold. Look at the wind chills moving forward. I think, as I mentioned, even during the day today, we're pretty frequently going to see those wind chills in the teens below zero. Tomorrow morning, and Monday morning, we're once again, I think, going to see wind chills in the 20s below zero. And that does hit criteria for a cold weather advisory. So that's why I'm saying I wouldn't be shocked to see the Green Bay National Weather Service kind of start to reissue some things there, except I just don't think we're going to be seeing extreme cold warnings. Now, Sunday, during the day, I think wind chills will still be just a little bit below zero. But the good news is, at least after seeing highs today only getting up into the single digits below zero, I think tomorrow we're finally, for the first time in a couple of days, going to get above that 0 degree mark. We've got Arctic high pressure that's just parked across the northern tiers of the U.S. And this is not only a problem for us, giving us that cold air, that bitter cold air. But what we've got on the front side of this high is we've got this Arctic air that's just getting jammed in from the northeast, and it's making it all the way into the deep south, all the way into Texas and the Gulf Coast. So what we've got is snow that's falling right now from the Carolinas and Virginia all the way back out into New Mexico. Every single state between there has got some snow falling at the very least. We also have some areas of ice and freezing rain and sleet already falling in Mississippi and Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, into parts of Texas and New Mexico. And there is going to be a band potentially of some catastrophic ice that runs from parts of Arkansas kind of up through the mid-south, not necessarily the deep south, but out through the mid-south and on into the Carolinas, especially I think western North Carolina and South Carolina could see some big issues. Northern Georgia, northern Alabama, up into Tennessee and Kentucky. And north of that, what we're going to see is a lot of snow and potentially like a foot of snow or more, especially as you start to get on up into New England and the mid-Atlantic states. And just look, this is like insane. I mean, I think I saw some statistics that there hasn't been this wide of a swath of winter storm warnings in several years. And I think it's the first time in at least 20 years that the entire state of Pennsylvania, I just saw one stat, has been entirely covered in a winter storm warning all at the same time. So those stretch from Cape Cod all the way back out almost to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So just insanity here. And again, we've got not only the bright pinks, the winter storm warnings, but ice storm warnings. There you see from West Texas, Louisiana, southern Arkansas, Mississippi, up into Tennessee, and then parts of Georgia, the Carolinas there. So that's where the worries for the ice is. And then north of that, you start to get into more of that snowy and icy mix and potentially just all snow really running from the southern plains up through the Ohio River Valley into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. The entire state of New York State, could be buried under a foot or more of snow. That's a huge area getting that much snow. Just an incredible storm system that's going to be working its way up through that part of the country over the course of the next couple of days. Here, though, on the north side of that system, our weather's going to be very quiet. And that happens frequently because if you're going to get wintry weather that far south, there's got to be a wedge of cold air that's sitting just off to its north. And typically that's our neck of the woods, and we just end up dry and bitterly cold. So that's what we've got. So highs over the next couple of days do slowly start to get back up above zero. And into the week, we're going to see highs in the teens, but that's still running 10 to 15 degrees below average. So really just incredibly cold stuff here. Into next weekend, some indications that maybe we start to get back up to around 20 degrees. That's still a ways out. It's still a week or more out. So, I would not be shocked if we kind of see this or this below average weather linger into the end of the month and potentially even into the start of the month of February. So could be looking at a longer term pattern here. Thankfully, though, I don't see any sub-zero highs. I think that's something that's going to be kind of abating over the next 24 hours or so. Are we getting any comments at all just yet on this? Okay, figured I would ask. And I just want to loop back to the beginning just to kind of show people again. Oh, okay, this should be on a loop and it's not on a loop. I'm just going to have to go back here and reset this. Unless I only hit the play. Maybe I hit the play once. I thought I hit the play forever button. But anyway, we're going to be seeing, as these wind chills, they're not going to be so cold today as they were yesterday, but I just want to show people again where they bottomed out at this morning. Crandon, Anago in the 40s below zero. And the crazy thing is the air temperatures were in the 30s below zero in some spots there. So again, there wasn't a whole lot of wind, but all it takes is a breeze of like 5, 6, 7 miles an hour. And it just adds that extra little bite, and that wind chill drops 10, 15 degrees lower than the air temperature. Same thing, Appleton, Greenbay, Manitowoc, Oconto, Oshkosh, everyone was sitting in the mid 30s below zero. So truly was dangerous stuff as we worked on through this morning. I also mentioned that I'm just going to skip right ahead to what we're seeing in terms of those current advisories. Again, no cold weather advisories in effect right now, but again, this is only at about 9:45 in the morning. I do think that the National Weather Service will end up issuing a cold weather advisory for at least tomorrow morning, potentially into Monday morning as well. But thankfully, I think the absolute worst of the worst cold has probably passed us at this point. That doesn't mean it's not going to be cold today. Our high today is only going to get to 1 below zero, but it's not quite the worst of it. Yesterday was definitely the worst day of the two. So today, still bitterly cold, still dangerously cold, not quite as cold. Tomorrow, still bitterly cold, just not quite as cold as today. So you get the picture, just kind of that modest improvement that we're going to see moving forward. Thankfully, as I mentioned, no wintry weather. We're not dealing with any snow or anything like that. That issue is confined as you start to hit the Ohio River Valley and on off to the south. So obviously travel disruptions are going to domino outward from there. We have already seen some cancellations at Greenbay and at Appleton International Airport. So unfortunately, that's something that will be impacting us even here. But the good news is we will not be seeing any snow here. It's just that cold. So stay bundled up, stay safe, make sure you're, using care with any space heaters. Don't use your oven or your stove to try to heat up your house. That could lead to carbon monoxide poisoning. Make sure that your furnaces can vent and all that stuff, that those haven't frozen up. And just try to avoid exposure to this cold if you can, because it is the kind of cold that can cause frostbite and exposed skin in less than 30 minutes, and at its worst, in less than 10 or 15 minutes. So just one more day where you really got to keep it inside across Northeast Wisconsin. That's all for me. We're going to have more updates a little bit later on tonight here on Fox 11. Audrey Lee is going to be in today, getting you the latest in the cold and what we're expecting with that. And then obviously we'll be back in here tomorrow morning on Sunday morning on Good Day Wisconsin, kind of updating things. Stay warm, stay safe. We'll see you later.